Hi there. Tonight I'm going to walk you through a couple of new modules from the signal function set collection. First is meter, then note, and a little bit about overtone and VAC. Meter is our clock module, and so what this does is it uses time signature aware clocks that have support for swing and multiple different divisions of clock output. And the unique thing here is this bar output, which is what we're going to use to advance the pattern of note. And so note, each of these notes is a 8-step note sequencer with multiple patterns and multiple repeats of those patterns and multiple steps. It also has support for velocity, accent, and probability, but we're not going to get into those today. So let's reset a couple more little things here. So what we can do is feed in different clocks into these. So let's bring the 8th note into that one, 16th notes over here, and then 16th notes over here. And one interesting thing here is that we have inputs as well as outputs for the root and scale of these modules. And so what that lets us do is kind of daisy chain these. So we can take the root from this note, send it over here, root from this note over here, scale from here to here, and then scale from here to here. And so what this allows us to do is essentially adjust the offset of these consistently across all 3 of these modules at one time. And so now I've put them all to E chromatic, and I can change the scale here. Let's make that E minor. I can also adjust the octave of each one, because there's really only one octave per pattern that you can play. And so let's bring this one down 1, this one will leave at 0, and this one will bring up 1. So the outputs here also have traditional gate and velocity and volt per octave, and so those are feeding here overtones as well as VAC. So VAC is a rise and fall gate that has a little bit of control over stability, and so this is intended to give a little bit of unpredictability. You can essentially make the stability such that your rise is going to take a little bit longer sometimes, or in this case the fall, let's make the fall a little bit shorter. You can essentially give a little bit of variation to the performance here. So let's do a quick reset, make sure we're all lined up, and let's start building some patterns. So here, I'm just going to use the randomize, so that just gives us random patterns for each of these steps. So I've here entered pattern 1 with this. Let's add a on 1 as well. And I can say that this is going to repeat 4 times. So this bar down here tells you how many times this pattern is going to repeat, given the number of bar inputs that we've got. This is set to 8th notes, and so it's going to play through all 8 of these because we're currently in 4/4 time. And then it'll repeat that pattern 4 times, and then it'll advance to pattern 2. So let's give pattern 2 a new random. But this time, let's actually change the number of steps here. So we can bring this down to anything we want. Let's put that at 5. And so it's going to keep looping until it gets a new bar. And so this is going to have a slightly evolving pattern. So let's make that one go 5 loops. Pattern 3 we'll bring back to 8. Randomize this here. And let's do this instead. And that looks good for this one. So we don't need these other ones, so I'll just double click to disable them. And let's quickly do the same on these other 2. So actually, before we do that, let's listen to just this pattern. So I'll hit run over here, which will start the clock, and let's have a listen. So we can see which playthrough it's going on here. Now it's advanced to pattern 2. Play through 3, 4, and then 5. So there you go. So this one is playing those 8 steps. Now this one we're feeding with the 16th note clock, and so it's actually going to play through this whole thing twice because there's only 8. But let's randomize here. Let's bring in the 1 and a few others. Let's just get this guy moving. And the same thing, let's just build out a few more of these here. Pattern 2. Pattern 2. Here, let's bring this pattern 2 step count down to 5. And pattern 3, let's make this a 3-step pattern, which will be some interesting alterations there. And we'll play it 4 times. This one, let's have it play 7 times. This one, let's have it play 3 times. Here, number 2, 4. Let's bring in 1 more here. And I'm going to disable the rest of these. You can also see essentially how many loops each of these is playing, these tiny little dots here. The UI gets pretty tiny. Okay, so now we've got this guy playing down 1 octave, this playing at the root octave, and then this guy up 1. And let's take a listen. Now I'll change the scale from minor to major. And it's shifted all 3 of them to major at the same time. If I update the octave here, then that's only doing this guy here. This guy was a little bit too cut off. I was missing most of that. And of course, you can feed these into anything else you might like. And so let's tune the volt for octave here into the mask. This is going to change the number of harmonics that are played here. Not having too big of an impact at the moment. So if we want to add swing here, we can just add that over here. So this is sending 8th note swing out, that's not that noticeable. And to get that swing output, we need to switch these to the swung output here. So we've still got straight and swung at the same time. So now we can change the numerator and denominator here too. So let's make this into fifths. So here this only changes the time signature at a new bar. So that if you see a delay, that's why. So let's keep this at 4ths and let's bring this up to 5. In addition to this, we have a few unusual scales here. So we've got the usual, but let's keep going. The harmonic series here. So whatever the root note is, this will play notes only from the harmonic series, which can do some interesting things sometimes. And then a few non-Western scales as well. So here this has got a note above there, so it does attempt to preserve the notes that were selected. And there you go. Give it a shot. Hope you enjoy.